Mark Schifford, everyone. Good friend of very accomplished leader. Always, we could always count on him. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
I'd like to introduce now, to begin our program, Wayne Greenfetter, President of the Board of Trustees of the Nutley Public Library.
Welcome, everybody, and I'm so happy you were able to make it. We expect a really good show today for you. For those who don't know me, I'm Wayne Greenfetter. I'm the President of the Board of Trustees of the Nutley Public Library. On behalf of the library trustees, the commissioners, and the mayor, I welcome you to the 11th induction ceremony of the Nutley Hall of Fame. The library has had the privilege and pleasure of hosting the Hall of Fame since it started in 2003. Each ceremony has showcased the incredible talent and accomplishments of people who called Nutley home. This year, we honor an additional 8 people who made Nutley proud and whose accomplishments I think will amaze you. Before I turn the program over to Pat Ritacco, the chairman of the Hall of Fame committee, I'm going to read a statement from Commissioner Tom Evans, who's the deputy mayor. Unfortunately, he can't be here today. He was going to induct the honorees, but he asked me to read a statement to you conveying his thoughts. And this is Tom Evans' words. Please convey my warm wishes and congratulations as Deputy Mayor to all the inductees and my appreciation to the committee for their wonderful work to organize, identify, and screen Nutleyites who have distinguished themselves over time. It was an honor to be an inductee myself, and it remains one of my proudest moments in the spotlight. Again, congratulations to all. Tom. All right, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Pat Ritacco, who is the chairman of the Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Wayne, for your words. We shall begin the ceremony at this time.
Oh, yeah.
Administrative Committee.
The Administrative Committee will now take their seats. And the judges will now take their seats.
Please, take your seats. All the way up. All the way up. Now, go down by Sam. Sam will direct you. Please ready. First drawings.
For introduction to the Nutley Hall of Fame, Franz Fazakas, awarded posthumously, represented by his son Matthew. Franz Fazakas was raised in Nutley after his family moved to Kingsland Road in 1938, began his career building pipe organs with his father, before discovering puppetry through a Nutley friend, which led him into show business. Best known for his groundbreaking mechanical work with Jim Henson's Muppets, including Fozzie Bear's Ear Wiggles, Big Bird's Inner Workings, and the Academy Award-winning Henson Performance Control System, Fazakas became a legend in puppetry and special effects, while remaining fondly remembered in Nutley for his roots and storytelling spirit. Larry Hunt. Larry Hunt, formerly Lawrence Philip Hugerheide, began his career as a child prodigy in Nutley, performing at Lincoln School Assemblies, studying at the Dijon Studios of the Creative Arts, and later serving as an accompanist in the Nutley school system. He has since built a remarkable career as a pianist, composer, and entertainer, performing over 6,000 professional performances worldwide, recording original music, touring with the Ringling Brothers Circus, and now serving as music director at Grace United Church of Christ in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Charles Nunzio, awarded posthumously, accepted by his son, Charles Nunzio. Charles Nunzio, a world-famous accordionist, teacher, composer, and arranger, made his debut at Town Hall, New York City in 1933, and later became a founding member of the American Accordionists Association. He operated a music studio in Newark and later in Nutley, where he trained many champion accordionists, while also leading a celebrated career that included prize-winning orchestras, hundreds of radio performances, and service as a Navy musician during World War II. Tommy Petillo. Tommy Petillo, a 1969 Nutley High School graduate, U.S. Army veteran, volunteer firefighter, and longtime Township of Nutley employee, built an extraordinary dual career in public service and music. He's best known as the lead singer of the Duprees for over 5 decades. Performing nationwide, I wish he'd perform here, but he was also the founder of the East Coast Music Hall of Fame, former host of the TV show Jersey Spotlight, and author of We Need More Love Songs, which chronicles his celebrated career in the music industry. Dr. George Bronson Philhower, awarded posthumously, accepted by his great-grandson, Dick Landis. Dr. George Bronson Philhower, a lifelong Nutley physician, was renowned for his expertise in pneumonia and respiratory illnesses, saving countless lives during the 1918 flu epidemic and delivering hundreds of babies through in-home natal care. Beyond his 50-year medical practice, he shaped Nutley's growth as town physician, Board of Education president, library board charter member, and president during Carnegie Grant construction, and leader of Memorial Parkway, Inc., leaving a lasting legacy of community service and civic improvement. Paul Raines. Paul Raines, recently retired, served as Chief Information Security Officer for the United Nations Development Program, where he led cybersecurity efforts across 177 global locations and earned numerous international awards, including CSO 50 Honors, a Future Edge 50 Award, and recognition among Computer World's premier 100 IT leaders. Earlier in his career, he was CISO for Bloomberg LP, Barclays Capital, and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, and was part of the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons team, awarded the 2013 Nobel Peace Prize. James P. Van Etten, awarded posthumously, accepted by his son, Jim Van Etten. James Van Etten lived in Nutley for over 40 years, where he was deeply admired for his kindness, dignity, and service to the community, country, and church. His work spanned 14 years of active duty with the U.S. Coast Guard during and after World War II, an advanced degree at MIT, a 26-year career at ITT Laboratories in Nutley, where he led development of the long-range navigation technology LORAN, volunteer work in education, and notably and close to his heart, working for individuals with special needs. Richard Whitley, MD. Richard Whitley, MD, a 1963 Nutley High School graduate, is an internationally recognized leader in clinical virology, whose pioneering work in herpes antivirals and influenza treatment has advanced care for children and adults worldwide. A distinguished professor at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, he played a key role in developing remdesivir for COVID-19 treatment and evaluating coronavirus vaccines, and in 2020 received the prestigious John P. Utz Leadership Award from the National Foundation for Infectious Diseases.
Thank you, Joy. Our first awardee, Franz Fazakas. Come on.
Hi, and thank you for being invited to this and for my father receiving this award. First thing I'd like to do is just say and tell you how much my father always talked about growing up in this area, in Nutley and in the Oranges and in upstate, in other part of the state, in Harrington Park. I have a group of folks that have come. Most of his friends are no longer with us, but they are in spirit. And I'd like the people that came for this to stand up, and I'd like to just introduce them and tell you what they know about my dad and so forth. So, this was put together by a great person my father was very fond of, which is the Malarski family. And Mona is the person that contacted me about this, and I really want to thank her for that. My father was, his family, his grandparents and so forth, and his parents were organ builders, and they were based here in Nutley, and they built most of the major organs in the churches all the way from Bangor, Maine down to Washington, D.C. And my understanding is one of them is still in existence, and it's in Clifton, so it's pretty interesting. And he did this for most of his life. He quit high school and went to work for my father, or his father. And then when the war came about, he ended up being drafted in 1944. And one of the great family stories was he was on his way over towards the end of the war, and they were out in New York Harbor, and the two ships ran into each other. They returned back, and he never made it over to Germany until the end of 1945. And again, another famous family story was that two things he only talked about in the Army, and the first one was that about the ships running into each other, and the second one was that he was in charge of a 250,000 square foot warehouse in Germany filled with German crystal and dishes that were sent from the United States over there. Never said another word about what he did there, other than he went and came back. So nobody knows what happened. He was self-educated. He had quit high school to go to work with his father, and was a very unique, was always very musical. It was a musical family. And he ended up applying for a job when he got back from the military, and to be a puppeteer. And he had no experience at all. And the Malarski family are the ones that helped train him, because they were infamous family, puppeteer family. And he interviewed for the job. They said they wouldn't hire him, and asked him if he could drive a truck, and he said yes, and that's how he started. He went to work for Bill Baird's Puppeteers, And he worked with them for over 20 years with one of my best friends, David Sullivan is here. And his father and my father worked together for all those years. They worked on the original Today shows and morning shows on NBC and CBS, and my father became very involved with unions. And the original radio unions and TV unions and the merger of the two. And my entire life, he was very supportive of labor unions. I worked on many, many Broadway shows, and then went to work for Jim Henson, and that's where his infamy came from, and he ended up with getting an award from an Academy Award, because what my father did was built the interiors of the puppets and designed them and made them radio controlled, so the puppeteers no longer had to hold the puppets and manipulate the mouths and so forth. And that's what he ended up with an Academy Award for. His sense of humor was beyond belief. He would tell the greatest jokes, and he was an incredible storyteller. My wife and I took him for a 2-week trip through the New England, and he showed us where all the churches were that built the organs and so forth. And after about a week, my wife leaned over to me one day and said, "Your father's very chatty." So, anybody that knows my father, or knew my father, that was the story. And, he always talked very fondly of Nutley and this whole area, and raced bicycles throughout this area, and that's it.
Next, Larry Hunt.
Testing, is this thing on? Yeah, I have many stories, but they said don't talk for too long a time, so instead of telling you a bunch of stories, I'd like to just read off some names. I have a list here. I lived in Nutley, I grew up in Nutley and left here when I was 21 years old. So I want to just say thanks to people when I lived here, when I was a kid and a teenager and a young adult, who really encouraged me in my creativity. Music, drama, comedy, etc., my entertainment. All right, so if you knew, a lot of these people have passed away. If you knew any of these people or know them or knew of them and you liked them, after each name, make some noise, give some applause, or go woohoo, or shout out, you know. All right, so I'm going to start with my kindergarten teacher in Lincoln Elementary School, Louise Swedinsky.
Oh my goodness.
My second grade teacher in Lincoln School, Miss Paxton. I don't remember her first name, and all my documentation from my childhood was lost and destroyed. That's another story. So I have to go by memory. Now, if Beverly Apple was here, she would know the names of all these Lincoln School people. This is 1960s Lincoln School, right? Okay, I'll keep going. My fifth grade teacher, Marion Fink, Miss Fink. Remember Miss Fink? Anybody? Anyway, well, people that encouraged my crazy creativity. And my sixth grade teacher, Miss Busson, and the music teacher at Lincoln School at the time, Mr. Bruce Phillips.
Oh.
Right? Remember him? Nobody remembers. All right. I'm too old, I guess. All right. Then I went of course, on to Franklin Junior High School, and Mr. Gilligan. Was very encouraged me, because he was a piano player, like myself, and he was always, he and Dr. Ersfeld, they were always putting me on the stage in the auditorium. And okay, then I went on to high school, and the main guy there that I was fortunate to have him as a teacher for all 4 years of high school, Mr. Raymond Cohier. Very supportive of me and inspiring me. And it's funny because nobody in the music or entertainment, but Mr. Ball, the gym teacher, because he was friends with Cohier, and he would always tell me in gym class, now, Larry, you listen to Mr. Cohier, keep practicing your music, and it's pretty. It was nice. And let's see. One more from high school. Miss Diane DeRosa. Is she here? There she is. Well, she cast me to put in the senior class play. They called it the senior benefit. Do they still do that? Yeah. And she gave me like one of the main characters, and it's just a wonderful memory for me. And she was the director of the play. And all right, now outside of the schools, I'd like to thank the Reverend David Follansby and his wife Betty Follansby from Vincent Church. They were very supportive of me and influential. And I'd like to name 3 families of my friends' parents, fellow musicians who allowed us to have band rehearsals and make lots of noise in their house, their living rooms and their basements, and put up with us young musicians rehearsing, making a lot of noise. And the main ones for me the main family was the Zimmerman family. And they lived on 472 Passaic Avenue. And countless hours and years of they let us rehearse. And another family was Mark Schiffert's parents. Can we have some applause for Mark? He was the guy playing the piano here. And by the way, that music Mark was playing was all his original compositions. And he made some beautiful CDs, aesthetically, not just the music, but they're beautiful to look at. And we'll sell you one if you ask him for a very reasonable price. All right, I told him I'd do a commercial for him. And then the other family, a friend of mine, whose parents let us make a lot of noise rehearsing in their living room, was the Lamparello family. And still I'm good friends with Mark Lamparello and his parents, Larry and Sheila, his parents, let us go crazy, and they were wonderful. And I think I covered everybody that I want to say thanks to. I got 2 people left, David and Diane Wilson. There it is. Because I was away from Nutley until a few years ago. And the last time I performed here was in 1976. And a few years ago, David contacted me through Facebook, and he said, Larry, I remember you performing in junior high school and high school, and it was great. And is there any way you could come and do a concert in Nutley? And he said, I said, I don't know how to produce a concert, but I'd like to sponsor you in a concert. I said, well, I know how to produce one. So we got together, and we've done 4 concerts in the last few years. And I did it with, sponsored by Dave and some of my great musicians that play with me off and on. One of them's here, Ruben Ariola, drummer. Where is he? Where are you, Ruben? Right. He's performed here a couple times. And the last concert also, Cy Monsieur kind of co-sponsored us too, right? So I'd say thanks to him. He's in the Hall of Fame, right? And all right, I guess that's it for now. If you want to hear my stories, I'm writing an autobiography, book of true short stories, my adventures in the music business and entertainment business and life, and a lot of crazy stories. So look for the book when it comes out. I'm still working on it. Thank you. Come on, Sam.
You can get in too, Sam.
She's running away.
Yeah, well deserved.
Charles Nunzio.
I'm accepting for my dad, and it's a pleasure to accept the honor. He was also a musician, a great accordionist, composer, teacher, arranger, and he had plenty of stories. I don't know whether we have time for them, but let me just give you a couple. He sometimes was the accordionist in the band for the original Rambling with Gambling radio show. That's when they had live music, 30s, whenever it was. He showed up there one morning at 6 o'clock in his bedroom slippers. It was in 1942, because he had just taken my mother to the hospital to have my brother. So, of course, gambling made hay with that. And he was in the Navy for a couple of years. They tested him, his pitch was so good that they wanted to put him as a sonar operator on a submarine. Well, he's 6'2", 220 pounds, that's not for me. Right, so he wound up playing in bands in the Navy. So I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for their work on running this wonderful program. I'm grateful to share the ceremony with some friends and family who have loved my dad very much. My cousins, Lauren Petillo and Nick Petillo are here. They grew up in Belleville. And, you can raise your hands if you I just so you know special thanks to Lauren, who urged me to submit the application for my dad for many years, and I regret not acting sooner, while he was still with us. We also are joined by Eddie Montero, who studied with my dad from age 5, he told me, from age 5 through 17. And the later years, when he was a teenager, was right here at 401 Franklin Avenue, the Nunzio Music Center, which I believe is a parking lot right now. He's been a gifted performer, teacher for decades at this point. Another accordionist, Zeb Zions, who couldn't be here today, commented, "Your father meant a lot to me, both as a music teacher and a terrific person." Zeb, as a matter of fact, Zeb calls me every year on my father's birthday. Zeb's also a terrific person. He's a rabbi and a mensch. Unfortunately, my own beloved partner, Barbara Nolan, who loved my dad, especially after he complimented her pasta sauce, that was a big thing for her, she passed away last year, and she would have loved to be here. But I'm sure she's with us in spirit. In fact, her son and daughter-in-law, Tom and Stacy, are here. And I understand they, just a few days ago, celebrated 36th anniversary, right? Yeah, good for them. So we're all here to celebrate many events today. And by the way, today happens to be, just by coincidence, my loved one's Barbara's birthday. So, yeah, you don't have to cry. Another weird thing that happened this morning. It's like the planets aligned for this Hall of Fame. I recently joined the choir at our church in Pompton Lakes, and it happens to be the Jubilee of choirs. Who knew? And we were blessed, and the whole choir got up on the altar and blessed us. And they gave us this little placard here. It says, "Music is life. Where words fail, music speaks." Is that amazing? Just it happened to be together. Again, thank you for recognizing my father's considerable achievements.
This is awesome.
Our next awardee, Tommy Petillo. I could have never predicted this. And I don't think any of my teachers in Nutley High School would have predicted it. But, you know, this is really a wonderful honor. And I'm so appreciative. I do have a lot of people that I would like to thank, but we have a lot of other fellow inductees to get to, so I'll try to make this as short as possible. You know I wrote a book, so you know I'm not going to make it that long. But first off, good evening everyone, friends, family, and fellow Nutley of the Nutley community. Standing here today, it's both humbling and deeply meaningful to me to be recognized by a very town that shaped me, that taught me the value of hard work, kindness, and the community is an honor beyond words. Nutley has always been more than just a place on the map. It's where neighbors became long-life friends. Lenny Salerno, my first piano player that I ever performed with, and way too many others, but I'll get around to some of them. Although my Nutley High School teachers would never believe this, I'm here. Whatever accomplishments I have achieved has never been mine alone. And that's so true in life with everybody. No one stands alone with their achievements. It's been shared with my beautiful wife, Marina, who's been my rock. I can't say anything about her. Could you hear me with this microphone? If I was singing, I would. Over here? Okay, that's better? I also have to thank my sons, Michael and Luciano. They've stood by me every step of the way with unconditional love and support. I really do have a tremendous family, the best daughter-in-law you could ask for, 2 grandchildren there. And I must recognize my dear partner in the music business, Mr. Jimmy Spinelli from the We've been partners for 25 years, and it's been nothing but a pleasure. So today, I humbly accept this honor, not just for myself, but for everyone who has been a part of my story. Thank you for believing in me, for cheering me on, and for reminding me that no matter where life takes us, Nutley will always be a home. And there's a saying that I came across that I love that goes like this. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. And that's why they call it the present. Thank you very much.
You'll be a slab in Nutley High School tomorrow. So.
Everybody know Ralph Cardinal? Everybody knows Ralph Cardinal. Tom DiMaggio, I had to get the Next, George Philhower.
Thanks very much. My name's Dick Land. We're the grandchildren. Great-grandchildren, excuse me, of Dr. Philhower. We've come from all over the country here. I'm from Minneapolis and Dabney Beck. My name's Dick Landis. Dabney Beck is from Los Angeles, Glendale, and my sister Susie Sue Mansis is from Oceanside, San Diego area. So, anyway, so we're honored to be here, very thankful, and with that, I'll let Susan.
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I wish that I lived here and I could shout out names. This is just so, I'm so warmed by your family, not only your family atmosphere, but your family acceptance of us. And we all grew up in Philadelphia, and we came to Nutley often. It holds a special place in our hearts. We were little kids, our grandparents lived here. They lived on Maple Place, 25 Maple Place. So as kids, we would come and take our bikes and ride up and down Maple Place. We'd skate on what was known as the mud hole. And my mom would take us to Memorial Park, which was Dr. Philhower's kind of brainchild. And we knew about Dr. Philhower. We knew that he was the instigator of the park. We knew that he was a long-term, the town's long-term doctor. And my mom knew him as Grand Doctor, is what she would call him, Grand Doctor. So last year after my mom died, we came from our various places to intern her in the Vincent Methodist Cemetery. But we had no idea what we were stepping into. It was then that we discovered the Historical Society, and primarily through John Simcoe and David Wilson, we realized and were told about the impact that this man, Dr. Philhower, had made on Nutley. But we only knew him through our mom as his sole grandchild. We all had items that came from Dr. Philhower. Each one of us owned something that we never quite understood what it was about. But I will tell you, this past year, since we've been here last year, has connected so many puzzle pieces for us. We were really astounded by his achievements because we had limited knowledge of him. But the impact that I don't want to sound corny, but really, the impact that this man has made on our lives has gifted us with a new appreciation for the legacy that he left behind for us. It brings tears to my eyes just to be here to say that. We're so thankful, honestly, that the ongoing research about Dr. Philhower showed not only his influence on Nutley, but also beyond the borders of his hometown. And this qualifies him for the Nutley Hall of Fame. We're so grateful to those of you who voted for him, the judges, and for all of you who are including him in your lives. And we just feel very grateful again for what we know about him and how you've accepted him. We're the only descendants of Dr. Philhower, as Dick said, and we just pray that our lives will make as much difference as he did. We're very humbled, and I truly mean that. We're very humbled and honored to accept this award on his behalf. And now my brother is going to present his surgical kit, which he had for years but never knew about it.
So we all have, like Susie mentioned, we all have little things of our great-grandfather, which we didn't hear much about when we were growing up. So we're very thankful to Dave Wilson and John, especially David, the research he's done on Dr. Philhower. You all live here, so you know the Memorial Parkway, so that's very cool that there's that. But we all own something, and I got this. It's a field surgical kit. Open up this.
Check this out.
This goes back to the 1800s. Field surgical kits with knives and wraps and everything. I've had this in my possession for some number of years when my mother passed it to me, and we all looked at each other and go, where did this come from our mother? It was in some cobweb somewhere. When they moved out of Chicago, they passed it to me up in Minneapolis for some reason. It's been sitting on a nice shelf of mine, and it's kind of cool to brag about and show people because you don't see these things very much. So, but in that spirit, and with the spirit of inducting Dr. Philhower into the Nutley Hall of Fame, I thought this was a great time to present it. So I'd like to have John come on up and present it to the town of Nutley and the Nutley Historical Society.
The museum is really happy to have such a special piece. We'll be displaying it. You'll come by to see it. My role was really to put Dave Wilson together with Dr. Philhower's family. Dave did a wonderful job in tying everything together. So all of you, congratulations. This is beautiful.
And pray they don't need any Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. The other side says it's school. Folks on the school. Thank you. What's that? Thank you so much.
Our next inductee, Paul Raines.
To say that confession is good for the soul. So, when I first found out that I had been inducted into the Hall of Fame, I thought, do I really want to be in a Hall of Fame that have a person like me as a member? No, it was just a joke. It was an early Christmas. We had just gotten back from vacation, and I came back and I was notified in the mail, and I was just like, I've been on cloud nine since then. It's really an honor, and I'm very, very much humbled. At times like this, they say that you should look at the people that helped you to win this award. And there are two people I'd like to especially like to recognize. One is my wife, Rebecca, who's been putting up with my nonsense for 42 years. Is my father, and I would like to tell you a brief story of a lesson that he taught me that led directly to where I am today. My father was, I guess you would say, lower working class. He repaired farm equipment. We grew up, we didn't have a lot of money, but he made enough money to buy a house for us, have a car, and we had a vacation for 1 week every summer. And he could see when I was growing up that I had some academic promise, and I might could go to university. And so one day he told me, he said, we're going to go to a cafe and have a coffee. And I knew something was up. This was serious because one, he'd never taken me to a cafe in my life. And second, I didn't drink coffee. So I said, okay, Dad, let's go do it. So we went to this cafe, we ordered a donut and coffee, and when things got relaxed, he began to relate this story to me. He had grown up on a farm in a town, I don't think you can call it a town, it was a hamlet of maybe 30 people called Vildo in Tennessee. And if anyone here is from Tennessee, you've probably never even heard of Vildo. But he grew up on this farm, and he grew up actually in a log cabin. And when he was 18, he went off to fight in World War II. And he fought there. He was an aircraft mechanic on B-17s and B-29s. And after the war, he said, I've got a dream. I'm going to take the GI Bill and I'm going to go to college. So he saddled up a mule in Vildo, Tennessee, and made the trip about 50 miles to Jackson, Tennessee. Jackson, Tennessee is the home of Union University. And he thought, I'm going to go to Union University and I'm going to go to college. And he went to Union University and he tied up the mule. He went into the registrar's office. And there at the registrar's office were a couple of teenage girls who were aides, working there. And they took one look at my dad, and they saw the mud on his boots and the mud on his pants, and they saw the mule tied up outside, and they got the giggles. And they started giggling and making fun of him. And my dad, he was so embarrassed that he got up and he walked out. He never met with the registrar. And he'd never told anyone in my family this story except for me sitting in this diner, having a cup of coffee with him. And when he finished this story, he said, I always felt like I could have been more in life. I could have provided more for you kids. But I just didn't have the guts to stand up to a couple of teenage girls who were laughing at me. And he looked at me in the eye. He had tears on his face. And I can tell you the truth. I've only seen my dad cry maybe 3 times in my entire life. This was one of those times. And he told me, he said, if you have a dream, if there's something that you really want to do in life, you go do it. Don't listen to anybody, because there's lots of people who are going to be laughing at you. There's lots of people who are going to sing, you can't do it. You got to believe in yourself and just go and do it. And that one lesson that he taught me has stayed with me. So I carried that lesson with me in my life. So I was able to go to the Air Force Academy, I was able to go to Harvard, I was able to go visit over 100 different countries. I worked for an organization, the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, where we got rid of chemical weapons in the world, and we won the Nobel Peace Prize for that. Thank you for the applause, but I hope you're applauding the idea that my dad left me with, which that is, you got to have courage in life to pursue your dreams. That's my talk for today, and I thank you all. You've all been a wonderful audience. I thank you for your time.
James Van Etten.
Wow. Let's have a round of applause for Talk about a tough act to follow. First my dad, and then him. I'm Jim Van Etten Jr. My brother Steve, my sister Joan Sattler, and I are pleased to accept the award on behalf of our father, and we thank the Nutley Hall of Fame committee for selecting Dad as an honoree. We'd also really like to thank Dr. Richard Jackson for his suggestion that Dad might qualify for this honor. While we were doing the research to complete the nomination, we thought just doing that research was inspirational, digging back into my dad's history. And we hope that his story, along with all of the other stories of the honorees here, will inspire Nutleyites in the future to reach their full potential as well. It's quite a group, just this collection, and there's prior award winners as well. Now I'm going to go to my prepared remarks, if I don't fall over. Dad thought Nutley was a great place to raise a family. In fact, 3 of my brothers agreed, and they lived in Nutley for many years, and as a result, 15 of his grandchildren also spent years growing up in Nutley. Steve and Joan asked that I mention some of the points about Dad that didn't get included in the formal biography. So, Dad had a flair for ventriloquism, and he was an accomplished card trickster. He was able to shuffle a deck of cards with one hand. He also could throw his voice without moving his lips. He was a part-time tailor. way before they invented OxyClean, he taught us how to get rid of all kinds of things with lighter fluid. So he was in Antarctica, and Captain Thomas asked if any of his officers would like to go cross-country skiing in Antarctica when they got to land. Dad volunteered. He was the only one, despite his better judgment. And they took a ski trip over to the former Little America. So my youngest brother, Paul, developed a love of rock and roll music. He liked the Beatles, the Kinks, and the Byrds. And so my dad had a collection of CDs for the car. And whenever they took a trip, if Dad chose the wrong music, when they were going for a ride, Paul would immediately begin reminding him, I want a different one, by tapping him on the back of his head. Now, Paul didn't speak. He was Down syndrome, but he was able to get his message across that way. A lesser known of Dad's inventions was referred to as the super talkoscope. We don't know exactly what that was. We never saw it. But whenever we got home and he would have a story about something that we had done that we shouldn't have done, somehow from this device. He conjured this up just to make us think he knew where we were at all times. Now this is a tough one for me. This is actually a quote from my baby sister Joan. She says, being the 6 out of 7 children, I saw a different time with Dad. He always worked hard for his family, the school system, and his church. Dad walked 3 long blocks every day to and from work. That was on Rutgers Place down in Washington Avenue at IT&T. Sometimes twice, as he always came home for dinner and sometimes went back. He knew who lived on every house and greeted them as he walked by. After our younger brother Paul was born with Down syndrome, Dad became active in several different special needs organizations in New Jersey and became a key resource for fellow Nutley residents and others with disabled family members. This was over 60 years ago, when many people hid their disabled family members and inclusion wasn't accepted. Paul could be seen and often heard anywhere in Nutley.
Okay, yes, that's, understand here. Our last inductee, I think John is going to accept. Richard Whitley.
So accepting this for Dr. Richard Whitley.
Yes. That works.
Did I require that? I'm sure this one.
Again, I'd like to thank the judges and our committee. It never, ever, it never, ever gets tiring or tedious in a planet with 8.3 billion people, to have 29,000 overachieve in so many areas that Nutley literally does seem all roads lead to, as people continually just wow us with their achievements. About 25 years ago, when Carmen Orecchio had me put this together, we didn't know what direction it was going to go into. But it's obvious that this thing has taken on a profound life of its own as people are awarded every 2 years. When I penned this, it's on the back of your program, I really felt the way I did then, and even more so now, as you can see. I will help you as what I had inferred, and you can see what this means. A rose of the breast of a fine virgin soil, touch, such was the fruit, or of arduous toil. For people came first upon families so sound, thy passion embraced in my little town. We differ of name, not essence of thought, afflate us in concert bestoweth brought. Thy limit of mark hath never known bound, so earnest a peace in my little town. Time is no stranger to my old abode, yon demons of mammon do wish to erode, but steadfast we are, and perceived with renown, for we are the envy in my little town. Thank you for indulging me for 40 seconds. That's right, short poems for the impatient world. I will now like to call up Wayne Greenfetter to officially install the class of 2025.
Thank you all for coming, and those were just amazing stories. I'm hoping they'll be a good influence on the next generation, see what they could do, and hopefully 50 years from now they'll be here and we can celebrate what they're doing. And it's partly because of what you've done. You've set the road for these people, and now it's their job to follow through too. So thank you so much for your accomplishments. On behalf of the mayor, township commissioners, and the library board of trustees, I hereby install the inductees of the class of 2025 to the Nutley Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Wayne. Michelle?
I'm Michelle Albert. I am the director of the Nutley Public Library. I want to welcome you for being with us here today. And congratulations again, amazing stories. I want to bring your attention to a few ways we honor the inductees moving forward. First, we have a Hall of Fame website. On the front of your program is the address. You can visit that website in the upcoming weeks. We will post today's video as well as the biographies. You'll see all the past and present inductees there. Another way we honor is a Hall of Fame tree. We have a beautifully painted tree downstairs. If you come off the elevator in the library, make a few steps to the left, you'll see a beautifully painted tree with all leaves on the tree with every inductee past to present. Your names are now on there. So it's a great photo opportunity too if you'd like to visit before you leave. A third way is we have a book. And the book has the biography and the photos here at the library. We keep a couple copies here, and we'll be updating that as well. In addition, we want to thank Nonina's in the Park for catering the event today, as well as Nutley Park ShopRite for providing the dessert, and Plaza Bakery Shop in Nutley for providing the cake. Before we cut the cake, when we bring out dessert, it's another photo opportunity for all of you as well, okay? All right, so that's it. Please enjoy. If you have any questions about the library. Thank you. Thank you.